with cancer after what was thought to have been a successful abdominal surgery for something non-cancerous in January. She says testing found cancer had been present.
My medical team therefore advised that I should undergo a course of preventative chemotherapy, and I'm now in the early stages of that treatment.
Princess Kate says having Prince William by her side is a great source of comfort, and that they've been doing all they can to manage this privately and explain it to their 3 young children.
As I've said to them, I am well and getting stronger every day by focusing on the things that will help me heal in my mind, body, and spirits.
The type of cancer was not disclosed. Kate is 42. In a statement released by Buckingham Palace, her father-in-law, King Charles, says he's so proud of Catherine for her courage in speaking as she did. The king is also being treated for an undisclosed type of cancer announced last month after he had surgery for an enlarged prostate. An attack on a concert hall in Moscow is now blamed for at least 40 deaths. Russia's Federal Security Service says more than 100 are wounded. It's being investigated as terrorism after several gunmen, reportedly wearing combat fatigues, burst into the hall and opened fire.
At least 2 explosions were also heard. Video posted to social media shows terrified people ducking down in the concert venue, then scrambling for the exits as you can hear automatic gunfire. Another video shows the armed men shooting people in the lobby who are huddled together in a corner.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. The attack left the building on fire. There are reports of the hall's roof collapsing. It's not clear if anyone is still trapped inside. The White House says there's no indication at this time that Ukraine had any involvement in the shooting, and a spokesman for President Zelensky has denied involvement. A mixed finish on Wall Street. The Dow down 305 at the bell. America is listening to Fox News.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare information guide absolutely free. Call 800-919-3200. That's 800-919-3200. 800-919-3200. Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken leaves the Middle East empty-handed. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rejecting American appeals for Israel to call off a planned ground invasion of the southern Gaza city of Rafah. But the White House says talks continue on a ceasefire and hostage deal. A package of spending bills to avoid a partial government shutdown wins House approval, heading to the Senate with a deadline tonight. But one fellow Republican says the House Speaker failed to deliver on conservative priorities.
Marjorie Taylor Greene has filed a motion to vacate the Speaker of the House. She did drop that resolution into the hopper, but she has not made it privileged. It is not live, which means that it's only a threat right now, a real threat to the Speaker, but only a threat. If she does decide to make this live, it would force the House to take a vote on ousting the Speaker first. Now, nothing is happening right now. Greene says that it's not personal, but she says he's not doing the job.
Fox's Aisha Hasni on Capitol Hill. Republicans are about to lose another member of their slim majority. Wisconsin Congressman Mike Gallagher says he won't finish his term and will leave Congress next month. The Olympics will hit the big screen for the opening ceremony this summer.
The opening ceremony for the 2024 Paris Olympics will be coming to IMAX theaters nationwide. The NBC television network will extend its live coverage to theaters across the country July 26th. This is the first time the global event will be presented live on the big screen. This year's worldwide athletic competition will achieve another first. The summer opening ceremony will not be held in a stadium. Instead, it will take place on the Seine River in Paris with a 4-mile-long flotilla of nearly 100 boats carrying thousands of athletes from more than 200 countries past spectators seated on the banks. Michelle Polino, Fox News.
Recapping a late sell-off for the Dow, dropping 305 points, but the NASDAQ extends a record up 27. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather for East Central Illinois. Champaign Van Evans Saturday back into milder mode for the day-to-day with the weather system passing to the north. Organized snows through the northern Great Lakes region and northern Corn Belt. And that weather pattern remains a pretty active one, by the way, in our general neck of the woods for the foreseeable future. But nothing more than an isolated shower for the day-to-day, and that mainly north of Champaign. Even a couple of snowflakes this morning up towards the Kankakee. 62 later on today as winds turn southerly and a partly sunny sky. Isolated shower chance early on tonight. Breezy low down to 34. Windy, much cooler for the day tomorrow. Partly cloudy and the high to about 46. Partly sunny, milder 53 on Sunday. 62 with some showers and thunderstorms on Monday. Tuesday, still a couple of showers. Back to cooler weather. The high near 50. Lower 50s and some short-term drier weather for Wednesday and Thursday of next week. And then late next week back into a warm-up and scattered showers and thunderstorms as well. High temperatures into the lower 60s. Heads up late in the weekend, by the way, if you're going to stick around out there at Omaha. For CVJ Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Solgay.
Good morning. It is The Drive, ESPN Radio 93.5. The Drive with Tay and Piper. I am Lon Tay. Kyle Tosk sitting in today for Derek Piper. Pipes, of course, in Omaha. I'm trying to figure out, like, I've seen so many games from so many different places that all of a sudden in my mind I'm like, where's Illinois? So they're in Omaha, and of course the Illini advance. So Pipes sticking around, and he will join Kyle today at 4:30. Excited about that to get his thoughts on not only the game yesterday that Illinois won 85-69, pulling away in the second half, but also on the next game, which we found out is a later start on Saturday. Hallelujah! 6:40 tip against Duquesne, who, of course, upset BYU and really kind of led that game wire to wire against the Cougars. So
no need to complain about the draw anymore.
No.
It sets up as perfect as you can ask for. Morehead State and Duquesne stands in your way of a second weekend appearance now. So it's all on you, Illinois.
That's pretty impressive. I know I didn't go back through the annals of Illinois basketball. I know there's been times, even the 05 Final Four national championship runner-up year, where they ended up playing Wisconsin-Milwaukee and got a break there. But and maybe that's the year, but it's funny how sometimes, you might play a higher-seeded team first, but then, of course, you normally play the better team. But and who knows? Morehead State might just flat out be the better team. Or I'm sorry, Duquesne might just be the better team, but it seems like a team Illinois should be able to handle. I'll put it that way. They're an 11 seed. The Illini score 85 points. If you watch the first half of the Northwestern game today, you almost set yourself back about 50 years of basketball, because Florida Atlantic and Northwestern were struggling just hold on to the basketball, let alone score points. But that ended up being a higher scoring game at the end. We'll go through some of the scores today. I know some of you maybe are recording some of these, or you don't want to know the scores. So when we get to that point, I don't know if people still do that. I do it on occasion, so I have to assume that somebody out there is doing it. But when we get to that point, we'll let you know that we're going to go through that. But first things first, Illinois, Kyle, 46 points in the second half. They outscored the Eagles 46-31 to kind of run away with that game late and win it 85-69. They were only up 1 point at half, 39-38. Morehead State came out. They took the lead for a little bit in that second half. I'm going to brag about myself for 1 second, and then I want your thoughts. While watching that game yesterday, it seems like all the years that I've been around to watch basketball, and you're playing a team that is looking for an upset, that is a heavy underdog, it seems like if you can just get a little bit of a lead, just a little bit of separation, it puts a lot of pressure then on the other team, on the underdog, to all of a sudden say, uh-oh, this thing's slipping away. So Mom and I were watching this game in St. Joe because Andrew had a game at 4:30 right after, and I kept telling Mom, if we could just get like a 2-point lead and then drop a 3 to get it to 5, I would feel so much better. And finally, that happened. Illinois had a 2-point lead. Luke Goody nails the 3 from the corner. and then Illinois goes on a 20-5 run, and I believe 15 of those points were by Dane Danger, who was just outstanding in that game. Dane Danger, of course, a beast yesterday off the bench with 21 points in the game, 8 rebounds. He was 9 for 9 from the floor. His only blemish to a perfect day, he was 3 for 4 from the free throw line. How dare he miss that free throw? But Illinois just kind of got that 5-point lead, and then Dane went crazy, and the next thing you know, you were kind of in a comfort zone because Morehead State started to panic. Kyle, you're only up 1 1/2, and I asked you when I walked through the door today, I'm like, how were your nerves yesterday? You said a little bit nervous at halftime, and I think you weren't alone in that.
Yeah, that 15-minute halftime was one of the longer 15-minute periods that I've had here recently, just waiting. Like, it felt like Morehead State had played so well in the first half, and you just wanted to see Illinois come out, and you didn't want to go into the break in that type of tight game. You wanted to see them come out and grab a lead and put you at ease a little bit and give them credit. Yeah, that stretch from about the 16-minute mark to the 12-minute mark of the second half is what changed the game, because if you let Morehead State continue to hang with you and is right in the game, once you get under 10 minutes and under 8 minutes, that's how these upsets happen. That's how that lower-seeded team feels like they can play with you. All the confidence is on their side. All the pressure is on Illinois' side, and luckily Illinois never let it get to that point because of that huge run in the second half. And, yeah, that shot by Luke Goody was huge, but Dane Danger coming in and for the second time in a week here just being pretty much the reason you won the game with his spark off the bench, and he's been outstanding. It's been awesome to watch him, and it feels like once he gets one to go and gets a second one to go, then just get him the ball and he'll throw one from 28 feet off one leg and it'll find a way to go in. That's how he was playing yesterday. So that was just a huge stretch of the game, and great work by Illinois to come out in the second half and take care of it and make it a stress-free finish.
I'm glad you mentioned off one leg, because I think his shot of the day was that spin.
Yep.
I think he spun on the left-hand side and throws one up off the backboard, and it wasn't a slop shot. I mean, he had a nice form to it, but certainly when that went in, I'm like, oh, yeah, it's definitely Dane's day, and here we go. Yeah, look, Morehead State came out on fire.
9-0 start in like a minute and a half. Right. Oh, boy.
They hit 3 threes, I believe. Lathan hit 2 in that, but, of course, it all kind of equaled out. Morehead State did go 12 for 26 from 3, so 46%, which is a nice clip for any team, and you certainly don't want to be giving up 46% from three-point land, especially for an Illini team. I'm sorry, I'm reading Illinois stats. Morehead State, shot 11 of 30, so they shot 37% from the three. But early on in that game, it was like, wait a minute, I thought we were notorious for being able to guard this three-point line, but certainly you got to give Morehead State credit. They came out like the team that has been there before, and they really showed some confidence early in that game. And like you mentioned, that run in the second half was big. I thought Illinois did a good job with that. Marcus Damask just quietly amasses a triple-double. It's only the 10th triple-double in NCAA tournament history. It's the first time an Illini has ever done it in the NCAA tournament. I can't remember the last time an Illinois player did it. I thought I had read that somewhere. Did you hear?
Just had a triple-double in general?
Yeah.
It was Ayo Dosunmu back in 2021.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because there's been 3 of them, I think, in program history. They've all been under Brad Underwood's watch.
Actually, didn't Coleman have one?
Did he have one?
He might have. He had one against Syracuse last year.
Okay.
He did. I remember that one. Yeah. So it actually was Coleman last year. Was
okay,
the
so
last
it was
triple-double.
Coleman, Ayo, and now Marcus Damask have all amassed triple-doubles. My mom asked me what that meant yesterday. And I'm like, well, if you, of course, score past double digits, so 10 or more, or if you have 10 or more assists, or if you have 10 or more rebounds, I don't know that they give that to you for steals. I guess if you...
It's a triple-double for any of the 5.
The stats.
So
okay.
There's been a few big men that have gotten it with blocks before.
Oh, yeah, that's true. All right, so there you go. So you can... But routinely, the triple-double, or the double-double normally, which we saw Kofi do almost every game, is double-digit scoring and rebounding. But Damask yesterday put together 12 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists. You have post-game you're going to run next hour. And it's pretty funny. I don't know if you've got the one where Damask said that when he was close to the triple-double but needed like 4 more points, he said that Terrence Shannon was on him hard to start shooting and get it, and he said, if not, we're going to fight. So I think that's pretty funny. There's things you can clip of this game, Kyle, and I kind of want to review that. And, of course, if you want to weigh in on the U of I Illini Lake text line, that's 217-359-2255, 359-2255. Derek Piper will join us later today at 4:30 on the Tapman's Towing phone line. But a couple of things to dissect early. How about Terrence Shannon? I mean, unbelievable. The entire game was unbelievable. 26 points, 4 assists. He only grabbed 2 rebounds, but we'll let it go. 3 for 9 from the three-point distance, and, of course, 9 for 16 from the field. But 26 points for Terrence Shannon, and early on he was your everything. And he was the one guy that didn't look tight coming out of the locker room there, not before half, but to just start the game after the tip. What did you think of his performance? I mean, he was just dominant again, and it was almost like a guy that felt like he got snubbed for All-American honors, and he came out wanting to prove it to everybody.
It's felt that way for the last week or so, no question. I mean, this is a pretty unbelievable run that Terrence has been on when you consider the stage and the stakes that these performances are happening. The 3-game stretch in the Big Ten tournament, and then he comes out, has 19 first-half points in the NCAA tournament, and he just sets the tone for Illinois. Morehead State came out, had that 9-0 run where they made 3 threes, and Terrence Shannon answered it with 5 or 7 points of his own to really just stem the tide there. And there's one point where he had 15 points, and all 4 other starters had 0 combined. So you'd like to give him a little bit of help a little earlier than Illinois did yesterday, but he's just been so good. And when he's aggressive and when he's attacking downhill and when he's getting out in transition off misses, there's no one that can stop him. You're either going to foul him or he's going to score. And when that 3-point shot is working for him as well, there's really no flaw to his offensive game. Now, it feels like he, in the second half and even late in the first half, did settle a little bit too much. I just love to see him continue to attack, because that's when you saw the 40-point game the other day where he was just relentless. But that 19 first-half points is the reason Illinois was able to have a lead going into halftime. And it's just, if you got a guy that dominant and that good, Illinois is going to have a chance anytime they go out there. They're going to have a chance in any game they play the rest of this tournament because they're always going to have the best player on the floor, maybe unless you run into Purdue. So it's been pretty remarkable to see the level that Terrence has been at recently.
It's been unbelievable. And, of course, the Illini advance now to face a Duquesne team. We'll try to get you some idea of what Duquesne – I'm sure a lot of you were able to watch that Duquesne-BYU game. And, again, they were – basically leading that game wire to wire in that matchup against BYU. The Cougars could not score from the outside, and that was kind of their MO coming in, that they could knock down shots from deep, and they just kind of had an off day when it came to 3-point shots. They had some open looks in the second half that would not go down. They made it a game with Johnson getting a double-double. Robinson had a big game for BYU, but Duquesne was able to do enough to hold on. And, of course, their coach used to coach LeBron James. Kind of a cool story that LeBron James sent everyone on the Duquesne team brand new sneakers. And I know their guard was wearing them yesterday, is what they said during the game, as they took down Duke. That was, I believe, their first, what they say, that was their first win of an NCAA tournament game since 1969. I know they were in it in 1977. But it's been a long stretch, and of course now you start to worry, Kyle. Is this the dream team, right? Like you saw last year with Florida Atlantic. You don't want that to be the case. Anytime one of these higher seeds get through to the second round, it's like, which one is on a path, right, to making history? The George Masons of the past, Florida Atlantic, of course. There's been plenty of examples of teams that have done that.
And you've got the storyline with Keith Dambrot, their coach, retiring. So it's like
about ready to have a grandson or a grandkid.
He's going to retire off into the sunset after Duquesne runs through BYU, Illinois, Iowa State, UConn, or go to the Final Four.
Oh, my. Well, listen, nobody thought FAU would do that last year, and they certainly did. In fact, losing on a last-second shot to San Diego State, or they would have been playing for the national title. Of course, FAU loses today. Shout out to Brenda Ludwig. She's my fact checker. I said 6:40 on the game. It's 7:40 tomorrow night, correct? I was thinking when I looked at the times that those were Eastern times. but that is correct. Thank you, Brenda. 7:40 is the tip for the Illini and Duquesne. I was shocked that Illinois got a late game. I'll be honest with you. I know I had told you that I'm emceeing a Illinois Football Coaches Association Hall of Fame banquet tomorrow at noon, and I was in a panic. Mark Herman and I were both in a panic saying, Illinois is going to be playing that early game since they had the early game yesterday. But finally, Illinois catches a little break, and so does Lon, with regards to being able to get a little rest because, as mentioned, I had a little beef with the committee that put, or with the TV, whatever, the tournament itself, that Illinois played the latest game you could play on Sunday and then played one of the earliest games on Thursday. That didn't seem fair. Well, now they get a few more hours rest, I guess, before that. What's weird on Saturday is the two early games feature West Coast teams. 2-seed Arizona, which is an 11:45 start for us. That's like 9:45. I believe they're 2 hours behind us in Arizona. And then Gonzaga is the 2:15 game, which isn't bad. That's 11:15. They should be awake by then. But it is. And
those games are in Salt Lake City as well.
So I was very shocked that Salt Lake City didn't get the latest start times, or at least later in the afternoon, and that it went to Omaha. But we'll take it. We'll for sure take it on that.
Why is the schedule so weird for the round of 32 also, where you have one standalone game at 11:45, then you have the other game at that location, and then you pack in the other 6 games within like 3 hours of each other? Let's start like a new game every hour so that we got something going on. What if Arizona's up 28 on Dayton? I got nothing to do.
Exactly. You know what? It's like baseball. It's like opening day rolls around, and your team wins, and you're fired up, and then it's like, we're off tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, come on. I want to watch. I've been waiting all year for this. I want to watch baseball every night. And all of a sudden, after the opener, they take the next day off. I know they do that because they want to get the home opener in. That's always a special thing for every baseball team. But, yeah, you're right. And it seems like every year they do it like this, and it's just kind of weird. And you're right, because like you said, if Arizona gets up big in that game, then it's like, well, I got nothing else to watch. At least on these days, yesterday and today, you only have to wait about 15, 20 minutes and the next game has begun. Then you wait another 20 minutes and the third game has begun. And all of a sudden, it's almost like too much because you're trying to figure out what game you're watching, what game you're recording, how you're keeping track of stuff. And it is kind of funny, but you're right. Dayton, Arizona will start things off tomorrow at 11:45 a.m., followed by Gonzaga and Kansas at 2:15, and then Michigan State, North Carolina is at 4:30. Michigan State, of course, a Big Ten team. Washington State, Iowa State, that's maybe a team Illinois fans need to hone in on. If you beat Duquesne, you'll play the winner of that game between Washington State and Iowa State. That will occur next week in Boston. And then at night, you've got Oakland. Whoa, we can talk about that for a second, against NC State. So you got a 14-11 going on there. And then Texas, Tennessee is at 7. Duquesne, Illinois at 7:40. Oregon and Creighton will wrap it up tomorrow night at 8:40. Now, has an 11 seed played yet today? Who's the fourth 11 seed? I don't have the bracket in front of me.
It's New Mexico playing against Clemson. They're down 14 at half.
Okay. So far, the 11 seed's 3-0. Remember when it used to be cool that the 12 seed always got the upset?
Yeah.
It used to be always the 12 over 5. You wanted to pick at least 2 of those. It happened every year. Well, that has now shifted to where the 11 and 6 is more or less your upset special during the tournament. Back to Illinois. I mean, when you go through, obviously Damask does his thing, just solid throughout the entire game, putting up the stats, getting the rebounds, obviously the assists. I thought Coleman played well. He had a couple big shots early in that game when you needed him. And then, of course, we talked about Dane and Terrence Shannon. You didn't get much out of Gary A. Quincy kind of looked really tight.
Both.
Yeah.
Just really gave you nothing.
But doesn't that speak to what Illinois can do to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's the amazing thing. And of course, let's don't forget Luke Goody, our guy, who came in off the bench and hit 3 for 4 from three-point land. He looked very confident. I know Jeremy Werner wrote a piece in the Illini Inquirer about how Goody is just kind of, or at least he had a comment on it, how Goody is just stepping up in the NCAA tournament play. And if you look back, his freshman year when Illinois lost to Houston, that game was just kind of so out of control. And the two guys that made the biggest impact in that game were freshmen, Luke Goody and R.J. Melendez. And then last year, Goody was about the only guy, it appeared, that wanted to show up for the game against Arkansas in that first-round loss. And, of course, Arkansas went on to upset Kansas, the 1 seed, and move on in that tournament. So then Goody yesterday comes out, hits a 3 for 4 from distance. And, yeah, I mean, Luke, he doesn't hesitate when it comes to the big shot, does he? And I'm excited, hopefully, that Illinois can beat Duquesne for many reasons, but one of the top reasons is I want to talk to Luke again next week. I think we would anyway. We will probably anyway, but I want
much different tone to the interview if Illinois wins versus loses.
I want to talk to him following another win over Duquesne, and then a chance to advance to the Sweet 16, which would be the first time since 2005, and then of course a battle with Iowa State or Washington State in that one.
Yeah, I know that Illinois this team's ceiling is further than just beating Duquesne on Saturday. Like, there's no reason this team shouldn't be right in the game against Iowa State and compete versus UConn. I mean, when this team's playing their best, they're a Final Four caliber team, in my opinion. However, won't it kind of feel like Illinois is like going to the Final Four when if they beat Duquesne on Saturday? Just because it felt like we've talked about this every year of the Underwood era, and just the streak has grown of years without even making it to the second weekend. And even during the regular season success that we've had as well, are we going to win 2 games in the tournament? And Lante's gone on his 2 games rant multiple times.
Right.
Won't it feel like this? I know it's only a Sweet 16, you're only beating Duquesne, but won't it feel so much bigger than that if Illinois can win on Saturday? I just think it's going to be a huge moment if Illinois is able to win that game.
You bring up a good point that I want to hit on. My buddy Kevin just texted and said 10 or more turnovers also could count on a double-double. That was the Tay double-double back in the day.
Andre Curbelo probably had one of those.
I'd usually get to 10 points, but I'd usually turn it over quite a bit against any kind of pressure in that crazy little local talent back in the day in the 80s. But he's right there. But, yeah, you say that, and I had made a comment, I believe it was last week with you and Piper, that the tricky part with this team is the idea that, yes, you want to shake that Sweet 16, right? You want to update the status. I've always liked to say in my 14 years on the air here at Stevie J Broadcasting, I love updating stats. And when you update the stats from 05 now to 2024, and now you can say, well, Illinois was in the Sweet 16 last year. So then it sounds a lot better going forward when you're in Florida, eating a couple, eating a lobster, talking to the people next to you, and they're like, oh, you guys Illinois fans? I'm like, oh, yeah. Yeah, we were in the Elite Eight last year. You can wear that with pride, right? But it is funny that, as I mentioned to you guys, yes, I want that, right? I want to get that Sweet 16. But I feel like you have the kind of team, and you kind of just said it, you have the team that is built to go further than the Sweet 16. So while in a way it's like, well, Lon, you should be happy that they, if they make the Sweet 16, anything after that is gravy. I don't look at it like that, Kyle. I really don't. Because this is, now, if that would have happened to last year's team, like I mentioned, if last year's team would have made the Sweet 16, I think in my mind, now listen, I would have continued to want to win, but in my mind, I would have thought to myself, okay, anything else is gravy. This team made the Sweet 16. They were kind of up and down all year. But this team, to me, has the potential to make an Elite Eight run or possibly even a Final Four, though it appears would be a yeoman effort against probably a UConn team who's the highest seed in this tournament. But you get where I'm going there. It's almost like, yeah, making the Sweet 16 will feel good. And I'm with you. If you win Saturday, there will be a nice special feeling to that, Kyle. And the one thing, you're so young, you haven't experienced this at all. It's like another week of talking about your team nationally. And that's cool, right? When you turn on the TV or you read articles on the University of Illinois, of course, it'll all be articles on Terrence Shannon, I can promise you, in a negative light. That they're just biting at or waiting so bad to like publish these stories about that, I promise you. But the point is, normally you get like an extra week then to talk about your team. That week seems to last forever. Like, I'm just telling you right now, if you're worried about having only one game to watch tomorrow until the next one starts, wait until Illinois hopefully beats Duquesne. Kyle, this next week, it'll get to Wednesday and you'll feel like it's been 6 days. Because you'll be like, why are we not playing already? That's the hard part, is having to wait for that that Sweet 16 game. But you're right. I mean, I just think, and I'll let you chat on this, I just think this team's built for more than just Sweet 16. Now, if they can get past an Iowa State team, let's say, and get to the Elite Eight, to me, then it's gravy, right? To me, because of who you're playing, unless for some reason UConn would get dropped by Auburn, and Auburn's good, so it's not like I would expect a blowout of for Illinois in that game. But I think if you got to the Elite Eight for this team, and I know I feel like I'm being selfish here and greedy, but it's like this team is built to go to an Elite Eight. They're one of the oldest teams experience-wise. They've been in between that 10 to 14 ranking all season, so there's no reason why they can't threaten into an Elite Eight. I just think this team is built to do that and not just say at the end of the year, congratulations, you made the Sweet 16. You did everything we thought you should do. Is that fair to them?
I think that's fair. Yeah, I mean, I think all season long, the ceiling of this team has been higher than that. And the flashes that we've seen, and when this team's been at their best, they've been capable of being a national contender for a Final Four, whatever it is. But my point was more so like it'll just feel like such a weight off of this entire program's shoulders if they can win that game on Saturday. And obviously, right after that, you're going to look forward and say, well, why not beat Iowa State? Let's go to a Final Four now. We're here. Let's win. And Illinois should have an opportunity to win further. But it's the last thing you wanted to see with this team and the way that things set up was this another year of underachieving in March. Sure. And it feels like if Illinois beats Duquesne, obviously you'll beat Morehead State and Duquesne. So a loss in either of those games would probably be kind of catastrophic for you. But it'll just feel like this team did what it should have done. And, if you lose a 2-point game to a 2-seeded Iowa State team in the Sweet 16 that goes down to the wire, I don't think anybody is going to be calling for Brad Underwood's head like they do every year and say, what a failure of a season.
He's never been out of the second round.
And obviously, if you lose to Duquesne, absolutely that will happen. So it'll feel a Sweet 16 appearance and getting to the second weekend, just getting there, while this team is capable of more and absolutely can go further, it'll feel a little bit bigger to Illinois than it would a lot of other programs to me. And that's kind of where I was going with that. So it just feels like it's such a huge 40 minutes on Saturday that is going to take so much pressure off of this entire program from Brad Underwood down. And so I think it's a big one for sure. But obviously, I think you're absolutely right. This team is capable of more. And if Illinois beats Duquesne, we're going to be looking ahead to more, and this team probably is in a position to have a really good chance for more.
I totally agree. Now, I would still be proud of this team, especially if they made it to a Sweet 16. It's been a unique year where you've had a lot of guys coming in new with Guerrier, Damask, Harmon. Who else? Is that it, I guess? But you've thrown a lot of pieces together, and it worked splendidly. You have a really good Purdue team that took the Big Ten. I don't think there's any fluke to that whatsoever. That was exactly what I expected to happen, and it happened. But this Illinois team finishing alone in second place in the Big Ten, that's nothing to scoff at. Then, of course, you get the banner by winning the Big Ten basketball tournament, so you get that championship to add to your credentials if you're Brad Underwood with regards to the Big Ten. I mean, Brad Underwood has come in and dominated the Big Ten. And I understand that dominated might mean that he's won the regular season every year he's been here. That's not realistic. He has done some amazing things in the Big Ten. Most wins for a program. How many times have we heard that over the last 3 years in the Big Ten? Now you've got 3 banners essentially in the last 4 years with a regular season title and 2 tournament titles. He has done everything you could ask for and more as a head coach at Illinois when it comes to conference play. And that's a big part of it. That's the bulk of your schedule, right? 20 games and then another 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 in the Big Ten tournament. So that is probably 70% of your season. And his teams have done extremely well in that bulk of the schedule. It's just the end that has been kind of the hiccup, if you will, for Brad Underwood. And, I think our buddy Isaac Trotter tweeted out yesterday about as well as you can say it. 14 Morehead State, 11 Duquesne, no excuses. Mm-hmm. There's no excuses, right? I know Duquesne's good. I know they looked good against BYU. There are no excuses for Illinois not to come out and win that game by double digits tomorrow and advance to the Sweet 16 and then take your chances probably against an Iowa State squad, unless Washington State can go on another run. Didn't they? No, was that Oregon State or Washington State back when Illinois lost to Loyola? That was Oregon State, wasn't it, that went to the Elite Eight?
Yes.
Yeah, because that's who you would have played, I believe, and they were a high seed in that one. I want to go through a few of these texts that have come in on the U of I Lightning Lake text line. 217 said 18 to 24-year-olds get 3 days off. It doesn't come easy. You have to meet your opponents head on. You have to beat great teams to achieve the pinnacle. And you're right. I mean, look, heck, you give me 3 days off and I'm energized, let alone these guys. Brian said Duquesne has big, thick guards who can flat out shoot it. I agree. I know, what is it, Clark and who's the Day or something?
Day Grant. Yep.
Day Grant. Day Grant almost cost them the game. Like, he was almost throwing that game away for them with bad shots and kind of not timely shots for them. That was kind of weird, but he's definitely a good year for a good player, for Duquesne. 217, down year for the Big Ten, huh? 3-0 so far. That's right. Michigan State got it done early. Northwestern got it done early today. It's funny how two Big Ten teams led off the action yesterday and today, with Michigan State looked really good. Aikens looked really good.
They do it every year.
They do.
Every year. Why would I pick against them?
I had a thought yesterday, like, I give Tom Izzo all the credit in the world. I think he's an incredible coach. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a guy that I'll always go down as saying he's one of the best coaches I've ever watched. But that wasn't Tom Izzo yesterday. They just were flat out playing great basketball.
And it's not. That's the annoying thing. And Piper would tell you the same thing, because I know he shares the thought. It's like, yes, Tom Izzo is absolutely a Hall of Famer and a fantastic basketball coach. But he's been so stubborn the last 4 years and has refused to change with the times, and has refused to go to the portal and refused to adapt to college basketball. And in the regular season, his rosters and his team success has shown that. But he sneaks into the tournament, gets 1 or 2 wins, and it feels like everybody forgets that. And he's Mr. March shows up again. Tom Izzo outsmarted everybody else. He knows what he's doing. And it's like, well, does he really, or did he just win one game in the tournament? Like, that's the one annoyance I have, is like, this Michigan State team has been so flawed all season.
Right.
I hope that, even if they beat North Carolina, I hope that the narrative isn't like, well, Tom Izzo beats everybody again.
Yeah, here we
go.
go.
Where were all these people criticizing him for not getting a center? Well, I mean, they lost 14 games. So.
Exactly. Kyle, I hope you take a few things from me when you move on in your career, and you're going to have an outstanding career in this. I hope there's 1 or 2 things that you can look back and say, oh, yeah, Lon used to do this, and I really picked that up. One thing that I hope you don't take away is my work ethic. Even though I feel like I've worked hard my whole life, like the last 14 years, 2 jobs, I'm doing my thing. But I've always said, like, these coaches, and I read today on the Inquirer, they had the top 20 paid coaches in the country. Brad Underwood is one of them. But Tom Izzo makes like $6.2 million a year, and his contract states that when he's got a lifetime contract with Michigan State, so basically he can coach till he says I'm out, or probably if something would go really wrong off the court, or if there was some kind of an issue, in the legal system, or things like that. Obviously, that they could terminate the contract. But the point is, I read today that Izzo can coach as long as he wants. Then the next year, when he finally retires from coaching, he's going to take a position inside Michigan State University and make the same salary for 1 more year. So even if he's not coaching, the first year he's going to be working for Michigan State, making like 6.2, and then it's like an annual pay of like $900,000. Why the hell do you want to keep working? I mean, you're making $6 million a year. If you haven't saved enough money to go live on a beach, come on. Or if you want to go live in Wyoming and live in a cabin in the middle of the forest and shoot deer and, I don't know. I mean, why? That's where I say, I guess my work ethic isn't that great, because if you handed me a winning lottery ticket of $200 million tomorrow, the last thing I'm doing is working. It's just that simple. I am going to be somewhere enjoying the rest of my life and probably inviting everybody down to do it with me close to the Blue Waters. All right, you can call me Sal. Said I almost barfed watching the Northwestern game, especially when they won. Here we got one texter that's big on the Big Ten going 3-0, and then Sal just poo-poos it. Heath, they said Illinois had 6 triple-doubles in their history, 4 under Underwood, Marcus, Coleman, and Io twice. That makes more sense. Like, it's hard for me to believe in the storied history of Illinois basketball there wouldn't be more than 3. So I don't know where I read that, but I appreciate that. Randy, Luke Goody played great defense on their stud. Does he have any eligibility? Perfect replacement for Damask. Yeah, Goody's got another year.
He's talking about Riley Minix.
Oh. I'm sorry. I misread that. My fault, Randy.
He does not. He spent 4 years at Southeastern, an NAIA program, and now 5th year at Morehead State, but he is good, man.
Oh, he's very good. He's strong too. I kept and when we had their voice, Chris Mraz, on, the voice of the Eagles, he said that they think he's one of the strongest kids for his size in the country, and you could tell he's a strong kid. Yeah, he's got a little bit of the Mike Dahm vibe. Do you remember him that played for that South Dakota State or something?
That's
and then played for the TBT Illini team that one time. Adam wants me to do the CBS Sports bit. You got to wait till next week. Like, I've got to get a few more frustrations in with the commercials every 2 seconds, and then I'll unleash on that, Adam. I even had a buddy of mine that lives in Ohio who I used to work television with. He sent a group text out to all of our fantasy football guys, and he goes, it's that time of year where Lon gets ticked off because the CBS takes a commercial immediately as soon as the ball goes out of bounds underneath one of those timeouts. And it's like, come on. You have to go already. Big Dev texted in Monday how unimpressed I was with BYU, and obviously awesome to get to play the Dukes. Just get to second weekend. Beyond that, let the chips fall where they may. Absolute crapshoot that is the tourney. I know someone had texted earlier saying they want the Elite Eight or bust. Mark, the only common opponent I found was Nebraska, who they lost to by 10. Who would he be talking
Duquesne.
about? That's Duquesne. Okay, yep. So Duquesne lost to Nebraska by 10. A lot of common opponents with Morehead State. As we mentioned, they played Indiana, they played Purdue, and they played Penn State. Lost to all of those, but gave Indiana a battle. Wade, have you seen all the Twitter talk about Louisville wanting to hire Brad? I've seen a little bit of it. And look, Louisville, they're a proud basketball program. I mean, I can see them putting together a pretty nice package, but you're talking Brad Underwood is one of the top, 10 paid coaches in the country, or at least top 20. I think he's top 15.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure with every win, I know winning the Big Ten tournament, I think, added another year on his contract. So
yes, it did.
Brad's going to be here, I think, as long. And you know what? We've been burnt before. Every college base has been burnt before when it comes to that stuff. But there was something the way Brad said it when he was hired here. He was an assistant at Western Illinois for years, and he made that comment that, from afar, I always watched and wondered what it would be like to coach at the University of Illinois, because it's the flagship, program in the state of Illinois, and he always kind of thought to himself, I think you could do really big things there. So I don't know. Illinois treated Brad pretty well here. And obviously he's given it back, especially in that conference record. Now it's just getting him past this second game. And certainly he will be a guy that deserves a cold beer on that flight home from Omaha when that ends tomorrow night, hopefully. Matt, crazy, or how crazy are Kentucky fans going? Oh, my.
Coach Calipari's house needs to have like 24/7 security around it.
Lord. I heard there's a buyout. His buyout's $33 million.
Yep.
So Greg Kampe, the coach at Oakland, came to play Illinois. This was way back, like 10 years ago. It was the game, and I think everybody will remember
this. They played us this year as well.
Yeah, they played this year. But it was the game where they used a girls' basketball. They used a ladies' basketball for the first, 4 minutes of the game, right? Do you remember this? You would have been 5.
I don't.
But they did that, and then they stopped the game and realized what was happening. And I was sitting courtside. I had gotten a press pass for that when I was sitting with Jeremy Werner. And he and I both made the comment to each other. We're like, man, that Greg Kampe's a hell of a coach. And here he is still coaching. I think he makes $395,000 a year. Chen Coleman makes $600,000. So the Kentucky assistant is making double almost what the head coach of Oakland is. Now, that shouldn't be that surprising if you understand the dynamics and the finances of college basketball and big-time programs like Kentucky, but it does make you kind of pause when you see something like that, and certainly an unbelievable win. Ken, this is the text of the day, and then we got to take a break on the U of I Line and Lake text line. Ken said, if Underwood goes to Louisville, Sky Clark may transfer back to Illinois. We can get Sky back. Does anybody want him? He's pretty good. I mean, I guess
he's had some good games this year, but
he has.
That team is horrendous.
I think Sky was one of the first to kind of congratulate Illinois on a Big Ten tournament. I think. Was that him?
That was him.
So that was cool that he did that for sure. All right, let's catch a break. When we come back, we'll kind of go through a little bit of our thoughts on Duquesne. Again, Derek Piper will join Kyle at 4:30. I'm bailing again today for another baseball game.
Andrew Tay on the bump.
I think he's on the bump today, so I'm going to try to bust it over to Georgetown.
Sweet.
And not a really the only straight shot to Georgetown via Philo is just country roads. And the country road that I need had a train on it an hour ago, and it didn't look like it was going anywhere. So I'm needing, if anybody out there is working with UP or Canadian or whatever that train, whatever that is, can you please have them move it past the crossing, because I got to get through. I've got a game to attend. That's important, Kyle. 359-2255. Sorry, 359-2255. Let's catch a break. It is The Drive.
Join us for the third annual Inspire Your Wedding Showcase at the Orpheum, Saturday, March 23rd, 2 to 5 p.m. in Champaign, Illinois. With a passion for the wedding industry, I wanted to bring a different format to Central Illinois vendors and couples. Our premier wedding expo is an interactive, immersive, and inspirational experience to connect, learn, and book wedding vendors, as well as learn new 2024 trends, get inspired table design looks, bridal, groom, mom fashion ideas, and walk away with a swag bag filled with goodies. Head to inspireyour.com to get your showcase ticket.
Looking for a place to host a corporate meeting, intimate gathering, or a large-scale celebration? If so, the University of Illinois Alice Campbell Alumni Center offers the perfect space and staff to make your function a success. A few rooms offered at the center include the Elegant Ballroom, the Richmond Family Gallery, and the Premier and Professional Executive Boardroom. For more information on renting a space at the Alice Campbell Alumni Center, visit uiaa.org/alumni-center or call 1-800-355-2586. Go Illini!
Carpet Weavers Flooring and Furniture Gallery has store-wide savings as they celebrate their anniversary. Installation is half off Mohawk waterproof luxury vinyl floors. The installation is free on Mohawk carpet. And get up to $1,000 of instant rebates on Mohawk carpet and floors. Instant rebates on all furniture. Plus, buy it all with 2 years free financing. Don't miss the anniversary sale going on now at Carpet Weavers.
When you make the right decision, it feels good, like picking the perfect accent rug or choosing a good night's sleep over an all-night crime show binge. It feels really good to make the right insurance decision, too. That's why State Farm agent Kurt Lenschow is right here in Champaign-Urbana to help you select the right protection at the right price. Kurt will make sure you understand your State Farm coverages so you'll know what to expect if the unexpected happens. Just call him when you want the real deal. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I always hate saying this. I know we all don't appreciate the day, but it's coming. Tax day, the deadline to file, April 16. It's quickly approaching. Taxes. Let Busey help you with expert advice and innovative products and services. They remind you to avoid costly penalties and keep money in your pocket. You can contribute to retirement accounts like an IRA, etc. by April 16th, and you get a little bit of a bonus for that. Organize your records. May not save you cash. It'll save you time and stress. And file electronically. The stat here is that less than 1% of electronic returns have errors compared to 20% of paper returns. Now, the annual taxpayer receives nearly $3,000 back. They suggest you use that money to pay down bad debt, build savings, or maybe establish an emergency fund. These tax laws are complex and they change frequently. The experts at Busey suggest you consult your tax advisor before making investment and tax decisions. Just visit Busey.com or stop by one of their many convenient locations to get started today on your maximum refund. Busey, they're always there, and they're always there for you. Member FDIC. There's nothing like the nerves of an NCAA tournament game when you find yourself down 9-0 right off the bat.
I know. I was staring at my screen like, is this really what's going to happen today? They're going to shoot 900% from three, and it's going to end that way, really?
There's always things like, during my lifetime, by the way, it's The Drive with Tay and Piper. I'm Lon Tay, Kyle Toss, Derek Piper joining Kyle at 4:30. I always do this. Kyle, otherwise, I've had a great life. I have 2 healthy kids. You know, I've been lucky. I've been fortunate to work in an industry like this and television, which is I really love to do. I've got a great job with the insurance agency. I get to do I've just had a great life, right? So it's funny sometimes when I know that the stress is coming with like losing a game like that, and I know for some people they probably laugh and say, really, it's like you lost a game. You know, that's like way down on the list of important things in life. But for people like you and I, and for a lot of people, especially those listening right now, it is a big deal to us.
Yeah.
It is a major deal. So when Illinois was down in that game in the first half, I think they had fallen behind by like 3, and it seemed like Morehead State was just doing everything right. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, give me something that I'm going to be happy about in the next week. Like, well, we got baseball coming. Opening day of baseball's coming. Or, maybe Andrew's going to pitch Friday. Or, like I almost have this built-in defense system that helps me, kind of take the shock of Illinois losing and then moving on to something more positive. But luckily, the Illini figured it out and, of course, ran away from Morehead State. Again, outscoring the Eagles 46-31 in the second half. A huge game for Terrence Shannon, 26 points. A big game for Dane Danger, 21 points, 8 rebounds, 9 from 9 for the floor. And then, of course, Marcus Damask, a triple-double in 36 minutes. Now they face Duquesne. You brought up a good point with one of their guards and the idea that, we've kind of gotten away with it. It really hasn't been a storyline this year, Kyle, with point guard for Illinois. Marcus Damask has taken over that role. By the way, I didn't give a shout-out to Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn. Mm-hmm. How big were those 2 shots? First of all, how big is it that the staff decided to throw him out there and then just with no problems, he just takes 2 confident threes and drills them both that were huge in the aspect of where that game was at the time. So congrats to DGL. I did see his mom tweeted out that she loves all Illini fans. So we're all back on. We're all friends again.
Yeah,
everybody's friends. Let's all have a beer. Oh my goodness. But bring up your point about Clark. They're good guard for Duquesne and what he likes to do.
Well, they've got 2 good guards. One of them, though, Jimmy Clark, really good perimeter defender, kind of a pasty, smaller, only 6'3", but top 10 in the country in steals. Had 4 of them against BYU. I would imagine that he is really going to try to put some pressure on Damask and really pick him up and try to be that pest and try to poke the ball away. We've seen Damask get his pocket picked a couple times when he's trying to get into some action over half court, and so I'd imagine that Duquesne's probably going to try to put Clark on him and try to not let him get into those, booty ball actions and get into those back downs, because Damask will have a size advantage on any guard that Duquesne really matches up with him on. But Jimmy Clark, I think, is a guy who could try to, force some turnovers and be kind of that pesty type. And that's kind of what he's been all season. And Duquesne as a team, top 30 in the country in defensive efficiency. They've kind of won games all season, these slow grinder games in the 60s. And they're good defensively, but I don't think they've seen Damask. I don't think they've seen Shannon. They haven't seen an offense like Illinois. And so if Illinois can play at their pace and break down that defense, Illinois should have a pretty good chance.
It's amazing how powerful Illinois can be offensively.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, those 3 Big Ten tournament games, did they score over 90 twice?
Yep.
And then 85 yesterday, and it's like, holy cow. Like, now, if they don't score 80, you're sitting there thinking, well, that was weird. I mean, that's just not – you don't take that for granted. That doesn't happen every year. I mean, their offensive firepower and efficiency is second to none. And, of course, we've talked about it all year. I think they're still top 5 in the country in offensive efficiency. The guy that makes Duquesne go is Day Grant. Yesterday, 6 of 15 from the field, so kind of inefficient, if you will, but had 19 points in that one and 2 assists. He's a guy you're going to have to lock down on, and certainly he and Clark both, again, like a texter said earlier, 2 kind of bigger guards that stronger guards at least that Illinois will have to really focus on. So I'm going to let, honestly, Derek Piper explain more about Duquesne at 4:30 because, I watched him against BYU, but I was more like just nervous for the Illini game and not really scouting Duquesne, if you will. So, but the Dukes, certainly a team, solid team. They'll come in, 25-11. And
they've won 9 in a row.
Okay, so on fire and feeling good. And that's big if you come in with confidence. But after winning the Big Ten tournament, after winning at Iowa, winning the Big Ten tournament, and then winning yesterday, I don't know why Illinois wouldn't be just as confident, if not more. All right, I'm going to sneak out of here, Kyle.
You want to do one thing before you get out? It's a Friday.
Oh, it is Friday. Hey, yeah, heck yeah, let's celebrate an Illini win. And, of course, get you ready for the weekend with Illinois at 7:40 tip against Duquesne tomorrow. Congrats to the Illini on winning Game 1 of the NCAA tournament. Hopefully we're doing this again next week in congratulating Illinois getting to the Elite Eight. That would be fine with me. But for now, let's hit it.
Happy hour.
That's just special. And today's like 60 degrees. It's just beautiful. It's like snowing up north, though, right? Like your parents are getting like snow and just bad weather. Kyle, thanks for doing this next hour. You're going to come back, play some post game for Illinois. I want to hear that on my drive. And then Derek Piper just texted me, said he's all good to join you at 4:30. So I appreciate you, my friend. Everybody have a great weekend. Let's get to the Sweet 16, shall we? We're out of here for this hour. It is The Drive.
Norm Miller here, chairman of Interstate Batteries. You know, without batteries, life would be pretty lifeless. That's why Interstate All Battery Centers carry them in every size, shape, and style so you can drive, drill, call, film, or do whatever it is you want to do. Stop in today. They've got the power to keep you going. Interstate All Battery Center. Outrageously dependable.
Interstate All Battery Center. You'll find them outrageously dependable just over Interstate 74 at 2504 North Mattis Avenue in Champaign, with batteries for most every application in stock.
Firestone Tires can make all the difference on the road. Drive with confidence. Plus, take advantage of the road-ready financing options. Get the tires and services you need now and pay over time. Your vehicle will thank you for the upgrade. Since 1917, Clay Dooley Tire and Auto has been committed to helping you drive with confidence. Just off Neal Street, call 217-352-4286.
Clay Dooley Tire and Auto, proven trusted, your friends and family. Loud and clear, better, good times.
Hi, this is Steve from Good Vibes.
And I'm Luke Goody from your men's basketball team. Steve, I have a question.
Shoot.
We've talked about Sony, but I know you have LG and Samsung too. Aren't they all kind of the same?
That's a tough one. Samsung is famous for their bright, colorful picture and the frame TV.
They look like art, right? What about LG?
Okay, Sony invented OLED, but LG perfected OLED manufacturing. That efficiency makes LG the #1 selling OLED TV in the country, and their build quality is excellent.
Yeah, they're really flat too. So, why Sony?
Sony makes movies, cameras, monitors. Accurate image is crucial. Colors, skin tones, contrast, motion handling are just some of what Sony does better. Sony buys panels from Samsung and LG and improves them with their own video processing.
Wait, a Sony might have an LG screen?
Yeah, or even Samsung. You've heard how a great coach can take your team and beat his?
I get it. Sony can use other guys' parts and still make a winning product?
All to get that red hair just the right shade and no blur on the swish.
Hey, where are you headed?
To Kelsey Furniture in Tuscola.
What do they have there?
What don't they have there? Living room furniture, benches, chests, love seats, sectionals, tables, bedroom sets, hutches, nightstands, end tables, cabinets, mirrors, stools, clocks, lamps, pillows, rugs, desks, media consoles, patio furniture, Tempur-Pedic mattresses, and more.
So, everything.
Yeah, probably could have just said that.
Kelsey Furniture, quality for less.
As Tapman's Towing celebrates 50 years of serving Central Illinois, we're always seeking good people to serve our great customers. Our team of expert tow professionals would like to interview others with CDLs, previous tow experience, or a strong interest in serving others. If you enjoy serving people, love working in the outdoors, and looking for a career, not just a job, we should talk soon. Do you have a strong desire but lack the experience? We should still talk. Visit our career page at tapmanstowing.com.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
A deadly attack in Russia. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Gunmen opening fire in a concert hall in Moscow, leaving at least 40 dead, 100 injured, and the hall in flames after the attackers reportedly threw explosives as well. There had been recent warnings of a possible attack.
It was in early March when the U.S. and 6 other Western countries actively reached out to Russia. This is a few weeks ago, and said, we have evidence that there is going to be an attack, a terror attack in Russia. And a couple of days later, the Russians arrested some people from ISIS-K. That is the ISIS movement inside Afghanistan.
Fox's Benjamin Hall. The State Department had urged Americans to avoid large gatherings in Moscow. It is not clear whether this attack has any connection to the intelligence that prompted those warnings. A spokesman for Ukraine's president is denying involvement. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby telling Fox News.
We'll continue to try to get more information, but we have no indication, no sense at all that the Ukrainians were involved in this in any way, shape, or form.
Russia is investigating the shooting as a terror attack, the deadliest in years in Russia. An outpouring of support from around the world for Britain's Princess Kate, who revealed in a video message today she has cancer and has begun chemotherapy. This after abdominal surgery in January for something believed to be non-cancerous. She says testing later revealed there was cancer.
It has taken me time to recover from major surgery in order to start my treatment. But most importantly, it has taken us time to explain everything to George, Charlotte, and Louis in a way that's appropriate for them and to reassure them that I'm going to be okay.
The 42-year-old princess calls having Prince William by her side a source of great comfort and says they've been trying to process and manage it privately for their young family. This just a month after the announcement that her father-in-law, King Charles, is being treated for cancer, neither of them revealing what type of cancer. Britain's Prince Harry and wife Meghan just out with a statement wishing health and healing for Kate and the family. America is listening to Fox News.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare information guide absolutely free. Call 800-919-3200. That's 800-919-3200. 800-919-3200.
Are you over 30 and putting off life insurance? It's time to get a quick quote from Ethos, a better, easier way to get term life insurance, all online with no medical exam. Answer a few health questions and you could be approved for up to $2 million. Isn't it worth 10 minutes to help protect your family's financial security? Ethos, up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
The 2-week search for a missing college student in Nashville ends with a body found by a barge worker in a river.
22-year-old Riley Strain was last seen leaving a Nashville night spot earlier this month. Metro Nashville Police Chief John Drake says Strain's body surfaced in the Cumberland River, where they suspected he might be.
We were in the right spot. It's just unfortunate, but there's nothing to suggest anything other than any foul play at all.
The University of Missouri student's disappearance became cause for speculation among social media sleuths. A TikTok video seen earlier this week showed people finding Strain's credit card near the riverbank.
Fox's Evan Brown. Again, police still do not suspect foul play, but an autopsy is planned. A former analyst for the U.S. Air Force is accused of leaking classified information.
A 2022 FBI affidavit states Jason Gray, a former Air Force intel analyst, shared classified documents with the anti-government extremist group, the Boogaloo Movement, on Discord, noting he likely obtained the data from his access to National Security Agency intelligence while serving at a base in Alaska. The case similar to Jack Teixeira, a former Air National Guardsman who has pleaded guilty to leaking classified Pentagon documents. Gray, who appears to have shared less information, was never charged for the leak, but during the investigation, officials found child pornography on his devices. Gray sentenced to 5 years in jail after pleading guilty to distributing the content. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Just under 7 hours left for Congress to avoid a partial government shutdown as the Senate works through proposed amendments to the $1.2 trillion spending package that won House approval earlier today, though many House Republicans voted against it. A mixed day on Wall Street, the Dow dropping 305 points, the S&P also retreating from record territory, but the Nasdaq finished up about 27 points to a new closing high. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather for East Central Illinois. Champaign-Urbana vicinity back into milder mode for the day today, while snows pass well to the north. There may be a couple of snow flurries up near the Kankakee, even a sprinkle to the north of Champaign early on this morning. Otherwise, partly sunny skies. Slim chance for a shower this afternoon. We'll make it to about 62 as winds turn southerly and pick on up at 12 to 22 and gusty. Might be a lone shower this evening. Otherwise, mostly cloudy, breezy, low down to 34. Not bad for the weekend. A windy, much cooler day's worth of weather tomorrow. Temps back down a bit below average at 46 with a northeast to east wind. Down tomorrow night to near 30. And partly sunny, a little bit milder for the day on Sunday. The high at about 53. We'll warm it up to 62 with showers and thunderstorms Monday. Cool it down to 52 on Tuesday with some shower activity around. Then lower 50s for highs, more seasonal. Wednesday and Thursday next week. Back into another dynamic system late next week towards Friday. High temperatures into the 60s and additional showers and thunderstorms as well. For CVJ Broadcasting, I'm Peter Olchis, Greg Solier.
It is The Drive, ESPN 93.5. Kyle Tosk holding down the fort here as Lante gets his weekend started a little early. He's going to catch some baseball. Andrew Tay on the bump today. Good luck to him. And that's where Lon will be spending his 4 o'clock hour on Friday, leaving me home, leaving me here in the studio. But we will get you some Brad Underwood along with Dane Danger and Marcus Damask post-game after the win over Moorhead State yesterday, a little bit later on. But first, let's get you updated on some scores from throughout the NCAA tournament here today. Been a lot of intriguing battles so far today. Of course, if you don't want to hear these, if you're waiting to get back and watch these for yourself, might be the right time to turn the dial. But Northwestern knocks off Florida Atlantic in overtime. Big Ten 3-0 start to the NCAA tournament so far. Northwestern led for most of the game. They had leads of up to 8, 9, 10 in the second half, and Florida Atlantic came back, took a late lead with about a minute to go. Northwestern found a way to get it to overtime. Brooks Barnheiser with a layup with about 10 seconds left, and then Northwestern unconscious in OT. Ryan Langborg, I believe, had 3 threes in overtime, and Northwestern outscores FAU 19-7 in that extra period, wins 77-65. So Final Four team from last year, the Florida Atlantic Owls, are out. Northwestern will take on UConn on Sunday. Baylor takes care of Colgate by 25, 92-67. Jalen Bridges for them, 23 points. So Baylor looks to be on the way to take on Clemson, should Clemson hold on here in the last 7 minutes or so of the game they're playing right now. San Diego State survives UAB by 4, 69-65. UAB had a nice second-half comeback to take a lead there late, but Jadon Ledee, one of the better players in the country for San Diego State, he is quite the beast down low, 32 points and 8 boards, nearly half of San Diego State's points. And the Aztecs, they were defending runner-ups, are on to the round of 32 as well, despite a scare from UAB. Marquette, the score doesn't look like it, but they had to hang on, scratch and claw their way to a win over Western Kentucky, 87-69. They were down 7 at halftime. Western Kentucky went on a late first-half flurry there, but ultimately Marquette outscores them 51-26 in the second half. Tyler Kolek, 18 points, 11 assists. He's back and healthy now. Didn't really get a chance to catch much of that game, so I couldn't tell if he was out there moving normally or if he looks 100% healthy, but the stat line indicates that he is healthy, and Marquette might be a dangerous team there with Kentucky out in that little pod of the South region there. Marquette has a chance to go to an Elite Eight and really make a run here for the first time under Shaka Smart, so that should be interesting. Couple games going on right now. As I mentioned, Clemson blowing New Mexico out. I have to admit, I had New Mexico making a little run in my bracket, and that is not going to happen for the Lobos as Clemson leads 69-49 with 4:45 to play in that one. UConn absolutely demolishing Stetson, 83-47 right now. My pick to repeat as national champs, I know a lot of people have it out there. They get off to a red-hot start to their tournament. Auburn leading Yale 29-23. That one's still in the first half with about 7 minutes to go. And Colorado just took a 31-30 lead. That's the one I'm tracking, watching live here in the studio over Florida with 5:32 to go. So those are the ones that are happening right now. How about the night slate tonight? 8 games. Texas A&M, Nebraska at 5:50 on TNT. That's going to be a fun one. Keisei Tominaga and co., that Nebraska team that had a heck of a year in the Big Ten, got the 3 seed in the Big Ten tournament. Obviously, were red hot in the first half against Illinois. They'll take on a Texas A&M team also playing pretty well. They went on a nice run in the SEC tournament. That should be one of the more fun games of this first round there at 5:50. Duke and Vermont, 6:10 p.m. CBS. See if Vermont can put the pressure on Duke and try to pull an upset bid there. A Duke team that I have losing in the next round. I don't really believe in this team all that much, but it is Duke. It is a team with a bunch of 5-star guys, and we'll see if they can handle Vermont. Purdue and Grambling State, 6:25 on TBS. Can Purdue actually knock off a 16 seed this year? We will see. My prediction for that one, Purdue wins by 57. They are going to take out some anger on Grambling. Sorry, guys. Nice win on Wednesday night in the first 4 over Montana State, but my personal prediction is Purdue is going to play angry tonight, and they're going to exercise some demons from last year over this Grambling State team. But who knows? Never know. Maybe if Grambling State makes a couple shots there early, Purdue could get a little tight. They're going to have some thoughts going through their head, but I think Purdue should take care of that one easy. Alabama-Charleston, interesting game, kind of a trendy upset pick, 6:35 on True TV tonight. That could be an interesting one, 2 high-powered offensive teams, 2 teams who take a lot of threes. Bet the over on that one, even though it's up at 173.5 right now. That's got to be one of the highest totals ever in the tournament. Jeez, that is a big number, but should be a lot of offense in that one. And then kind of that second late-night window kicks off with Houston and Longwood, 8:20. I'd imagine not a whole lot of interest in that one. Houston should have their way with Longwood there in Memphis. Wisconsin and James Madison, though, very interesting game, 8:40 on CBS. I got the Dukes going on to the Sweet 16 in my bracket. I think James Madison is pretty awesome team. And Wisconsin, even though they played great in the Big Ten tournament, I think they could be in for a battle, although I know a lot of people said that about McNeese last night, and they got boat raced by Gonzaga, so we'll see if Wisconsin can do the same tonight. Utah State and TCU, 8-9 game, 8:55 on TBS. That should be an interesting game as well. I'm going TCU in that game in my personal bracket, but really a toss-up. TCU 3.5-point favorite there. That one's going to be an Indy. Winner will most likely take on Purdue, as long as Purdue takes care of Grambling. So that should be a fun one. And then the final game of the night on True TV from Spokane, St. Mary's and Grand Canyon. I think this has a potential to be quite the interesting game as well. Grand Canyon team that's 29-4. Their guard, Tyon Grant Foster, is an awesome story. He collapsed in the locker room when he was at DePaul a couple years ago, and for a minute thought that he might not make it past that. And now here he is leading Grand Canyon to the tournament against St. Mary's. That's going to be a fun one, fun story there. And that is the night slate tonight. That is your NCAA tournament update from today. So some great hoops coming up, and can't wait for the weekend as well. Round of 32, obviously Illinois, as Lon mentioned earlier, 7:40 p.m. Central tip-off from Omaha tomorrow night against Duquesne. And we will get you some post-game from yesterday, Illinois-Moorhead State, coming up after the break. So stick with us. Brad Underwood, Dane Danger, Marcus Damask after the win over Moorhead State yesterday when we return. This is The Drive.
This is Eddie Clare, president of Paul's. Are you looking for a career and not just a job? Paul's is looking for experienced fabricators and millwrights to join our team on both first and second shifts. We have a great benefit package including 2 weeks of paid vacation from day one, a company bonus, health, vision, dental for you and for your family, a 401k with a match. We also offer tuition reimbursement and on-the-job training programs for less experienced fabricators and millwrights. Let Paul's create big possibilities for you, your career, and your life. Apply online at paulsmachine.com.
Thank you for choosing 2 Men in a Truck. How may I help you?
Hey, we're moving, and I have a strange situation here. We need to be out of our house by 10 a.m., but our closing on the new house isn't until 1 p.m. Is that something you guys do?
That's not strange at all. 2 Men in a Truck has completed over 9 million moves. We have a solution for that.
Not sure how your move is going to work? Go to 2meninatruck.com to start your free estimate. 2meninatruck.com.
In an ever-changing real estate market, it is so important to work with experienced agents like Russ and Nick Taylor with the Taylor teams at Taylor Realty Associates. They have the knowledge and expertise to get your home sold for the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. Trust the experience and success of Russ and Nick Taylor with the Taylor team at Taylor Realty Associates. Give them a call today at 217-355-0700 or visit them online at taylorboys.com. That's taylorboys.com.
A tradition of excellence over 150 years in the making. At Busey Bank, we're committed to building relationships that span generations. Wherever your journey in life leads you, we are with you along the way, creating a legacy for you and your family. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868, proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
From computer systems to brakes and tires too, at PDR, fixing cars is what they do. Remember, when you turn the key and the car won't run, call 367-9481 or use their dedicated text-only line at 383-0619. Additional information including repair quotes and online scheduling requests available from the website at pdrauto.com. Remember, they are what's best for your truck or car. They are PDR. When it comes to finding a reliable vehicle, look no further than Sarah Champagne, your trusted automotive destination. They carry a lineup of top brands including Honda, BMW, Subaru, GMC, and Buick. And they're not just about cars, they're about people. Their team is dedicated to providing you with trustworthy service and dependable vehicles that fit your lifestyle. Experience the difference at Sarah Champagne. Visit Sarah, S-E-R-R-A, champagne.com.
Since Busey Bank first opened our doors in 1868, we have built upon a tradition of close relationships and broad financial capabilities. Our experienced team provides the highest level of personalized service to ensure we accomplish your goals, simplifying your wealth management and business lending needs and ensuring a legacy for generations. Building business, growing wealth since 1868. Proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
Well, obviously, you feel good anytime you get a win in the NCAA tournament. It was kind of an inconspicuous start, being down 9-0 in the first minute and a half. I actually thought we played okay after that. We're up 1 at half, and so it's a kind of a plus 10 for the rest of the half. But I give Moorhead a lot of credit. They are extremely well coached. They have very, very good players. Riley Minix coming from the NAIA level, doing what he's done. this season is nothing short of spectacular. It just goes to show there's great players everywhere. You know, we recruited Jordan Lathan, so we knew he was a good player. But that's a very good team, and obviously they had a great season. So I thought we had a great spurt in the first half, kind of get it up 7 or 8. I thought that Dane's insertion in the game was obviously critical. He had 21 season high. And then, you know, the all-around game of Marcus. I think somebody told me he's the 10th player in NCAA tournament history to have a triple-double. That's a pretty special night. And so very solid. Luke Goody was tremendous off the bench, not just offensively making threes, but his defense I thought was very good. He provided great energy, and I thought that Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn was spectacular in the first half at both ends of the court. So survive and advance. We move on, and excited about the opportunity to take on a great Duquesne team.
We'll start right here on the left-hand side, gentlemen.
Adam Teicher, ESPN. This is for you, Brad. Shannon's he's been particularly productive lately, and again today in the first half. How do you explain the way he's played lately? And I'll have one quick follow-up as well.
Well, one, there's nobody that works harder than him. So success doesn't surprise me when you work as hard as Terrence does. You know, when he gets most of those points just kind of through the flow. We don't run a lot to him. We don't run a lot of actions. We don't have to. But he gets going in transition. He's special. You know, he gets going to the foul line. Tonight was a quiet night for him at the foul line, 5 of 6. But when he's making threes, he's awfully good. So nothing surprises me with Terrence. I think he's one of the best players in the country, and he's been proving that here in this stretch.
I wanted to also get your thoughts on that play he made early in the second half. He dove for that loose ball and throw it off the Moorhead kid.
You know, it's and these guys will tell you, I've been preaching for a month about the 50-50 balls, diving on the floor for a loose ball. And I tell the story. I didn't go to the Sweet 16 at Stephen F. Austin because of we didn't dive on the floor for a loose ball. Those are the plays that separate you. And when you're arguably your best player does that, it means a lot. Everybody else has got to step up to that.
Got a question on the aisle, then 2 in the front row here. Go, please.
Mike Patterson, Omaha World Herald. Dane, just talk about your game, especially the second half.
Try to come out, do whatever I can to help the team win. Whatever that looks like. Whether it was me rim running or rebounding. I just want to do whatever it takes to help the team win. This is a team effort, so we're in it together.
Tim Benz from Pittsburgh Tribune Review, Trib Live, and Duquesne Radio. Brad, this question is for you. Duquesne just played a BYU team that, like you guys, is very comfortable playing and winning in the 80s. They're really good when they get to 70 first. What do you expect in terms of a contrasting style against Duquesne when you see them next? Well,
I didn't watch hardly any of that game, and I do know this. I know how well they're coached. I have so much respect. I've done a lot of clinics over the years with Keith. I've known him back since my junior college days, and I know his teams are extremely tough. I know they're going to fight. To me, that was not an upset. That was not shocking. The Atlantic 10's a tremendous league, and I think they started 0-5, if I'm not correct. If I'm correct. And then to get to this position, that's on a coach. That's on a coach leading his players in the right direction. So we know we've got a tough game, and they did a great job. It looks like numerically from the 3-point line and taking that away from BYU. We'll have to play well, no doubt.
Right in front.
It's for Marcus and Brad. What is Dane giving you in this postseason? Seems like the last 4-6 weeks he's just turned it up.
Marcus, here first, please, then Brad.
Yeah, Dane he gives us a presence down low. Obviously with Coleman at the 5, it's a different look. So when Dane comes in, our team kind of changes, and it makes teams adapt to what we do. And then, 9 for 9 is insane. You know, he went 9 for 9. Just the efficiency is off the charts. And then even defensively, like I know he's been blocking shots a lot better. Just his overall presence down low is just a hassle for teams.
Well, 8 rebounds, the block shots. We know Dane can score. Dane's always been a very, very capable scorer, but his presence, his physicality. We're not here or not winning a Big Ten championship without him, what he did last weekend. And just the simple things that he's doing, they're not all post-ups. They're rim runs. They're offensive rebounds. That's doing what we ask. That's being extremely coachable, and our team does take on a different personality. You've seen, Coleman slide to the 4 and be able to guard perimeter guys a little bit. So his presence in the paint has been very impactful.
All right, we've got 2 questions on this side. We're going to go back to Harry over here, and then possibly you right there. Go.
Anderson Kimball, Decatur Herald Review. Marcus, I know a lot of the half-court offenses run through you, but at least 3 assists in the past 3 games. What's kind of allowed your playmaking to kind of go to a higher level?
Well, I think it starts with just guys hitting shots. You know, you get assists when the guys hit shots. So when guys hit shots, assists kind of rack up. But other than that, I'm just trying to play within the game, play in the flow of the game, and take what the defense gives me. I just try to not force anything and just make the right decisions.
Right-hand side.
Brian Teague, CSO Sports. This question is for Brad. Brad, you've talked a lot about Draven and just how hard he's worked. Can you just talk about his mindset, just for a guy that hasn't played much this season to, in the Big Ten title game, nailed a big shot, and then today 2 big threes and played really solid defense for you?
Yeah, it's amazing what confidence does. And that's a two-way street. My confidence in him. I like what he does defensively as much as what he does offensively, and I've said it for a long time. I think he's a terrific shooter. Both of these guys will tell you he gives us fits on the scouting team and on the scout team in terms of preparation. He's earned the right. He's really talented. He's still learning the game, but I didn't have any problem putting him in today.
Right-hand side.
Julio Alceo with KCSR. Coach, you mentioned about preaching, and Duquesne were pretty proud of themselves in terms of battling for the 50-50 ball. Are you expecting another sermon tonight in terms of preaching to the guys the importance of 50-50 balls, eliminating second chance points against a team that showed they were capable of doing that?
Absolutely. We have a saying in our program. It's a moniker we live by, everyday guys. So absolutely, I'm gonna preach those things, and it's this time of year when you don't do those things that you can go home. In a their game today was a very, very close game. It's a one or two possession game. I did see the one play I saw. It just happened to be the side out of bounds play. They stole the ball. Those things are huge, and Keith has not been successful as a head coach. Because his teams don't do those things. So we're going to have to match that nasty and that grit, and so we'll start preaching that tomorrow when we get together again.
We're under 3 minutes to go. Harry's up.
Marcus, wanted to ask you: is this the reason, really, you came here from Southern Illinois? You wanted to play in this kind of stage and these kind of games?
Yeah, it is. Through the portal and in the process, me and Coach pretty much just had conversations about winning big games in March. That was the number one thing that I was looking for in the school, and I trusted Coach and felt like we had the opportunity to do that here. So this is the time that all the time you put in the gym pays off.
Right there.
Quickly for Marcus, and then I have one for Dane also. But Marcus, when was the last time you had a triple-double?
High school, senior year of high school, I had a couple.
Okay, and Dane, did you have any point during the season when you had to kind of get yourself over a hump, just in terms of your outlook, because you weren't playing as much as you wanted to? Did you struggle at any point?
No, I actually didn't. It was just, for me, it was just like the energy I was bringing to the team. Which started in practice. I kept myself up by doing things off the court. With Fletch, just being in shape. Doing workouts, extra cardio before and after practice. Just those little things kept me going.
We have time for 2 questions, one here, one in the back.
Brad, have you figured out the slower starts digging the holes yet, or have you seen anything that's similar from these last couple games?
Yeah, we're going to get a different pregame speech than what I gave today and at Ohio State and Nebraska. So that one's 0 for 3. I failed these guys in that area. So no, we've got to avoid those. We've got to avoid those. They're smart. They understand that, but it's something that we can't have moving forward. That's on me. That's my job to get them bouncing off the ceilings here as we go. And we did that the last regular season game at Iowa, so we know we're capable.
Final question.
Okay. Eric Olson with the Associated Press. Marcus, could you kind of elaborate a little bit on your feelings about getting that triple-double? It's only been done now 10 times in the NCAA tournament, and just to do it on this stage.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a cool accomplishment, to kind of have my name up there with some of the greats and just, such few people have done it so far. So it's a great accomplishment, but, I'm at this point in my career, I'm really past all the personal accolades. And at this point in March, it's all about winning, and that's really all I'm trying to do.
Great stuff there from Marcus Dane and, of course, Brad Underwood. Marcus the Mask Man, triple-double in the NCAA tournament, 10th one ever. Just awesome on a day where Morehead State was trying to double him like 18 feet away from the basket, and he was moving the ball and just had a great floor game, did a little bit of everything, and awesome to hear him say stuff like that, triple-double's cool, but we're trying to win a national title here at Illinois, and if Illinois is to go far, he's going to be a big part of that. Let's see if I can read one of these as eloquently as Lonte can. Busey's Money Manager, part of the online and mobile e-banking platforms, is a powerful tool that allows you to visualize and better understand your finances through a variety of features. These include cash flow, a visualization of spending and income trends, allowing you to better manage your finances on a daily to 90-day view. Spending Donut, the mobile-friendly interactive spending wheel that shows your spending by percentage and total amount in designated categories over a 1-week to 6-month view. Create a customized budget, a variety of customizable views. That means your budget is easy to create, visualize, and control. This feature also provides insight on how to track financial targets while controlling spending. Track net worth. Track your net worth, retirement planning, and overall wealth management in one place, a feature that allows you to visualize all your assets in one place and track net worth over a monthly to yearly view. Busey is proud to offer convenient digital banking platforms that enhance their customers' user experience. Visit Busey.com to get started today. Busey, member FDIC. Derek Piper joins the show after the break.
I'm Justin Ike, co-owner of Fred's Plumbing, Heating, Air Conditioning, Electric, and Underground.
So, Justin, tell me what you see as typical when it comes to sewer repair. Give me a scenario.
Your sewer's backed up and somebody comes along and says, you need this repair for X amount of dollars. Here's my price. And you don't think to go looking for another company or a second opinion because you don't feel like you have time.
So is it possible that you might get charged a little more because it's kind of a desperate moment? Do some companies do that?
Oh, absolutely they will. They know you're in a pinch. Typically, if you call us, me or Will can be out there within an hour to look at that problem for you. Whether you call me first or you call me second, make sure you give me a call.
Anything else, Justin?
You can always trust Fred's.
Great to know. Thank you. That's Justin Ike, the co-owner of Fred's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, Electric, and Underground. If you want more information about this great 45-year family-owned company, just go to fredscu.com. That's fredscu.com.
We all have a mission in life, something that drives us to explore, to grow, to love. And when we discover it, we're made whole. At OSF Healthcare, we want you to be the best you possible. We're here for you on your schedule to make your life just a little bit easier. Whatever your mission is, we're here to support it. Your life, our mission. Learn more at osfhealthcare.org/mission.
In an ever-changing real estate market, it is so important to work with experienced agents like Russ and Nick Taylor with the Taylor teams at Taylor Realty Associates. They have the knowledge and expertise to get your home sold for the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. Trust the experience and success of Russ and Nick Taylor with the Taylor team at Taylor Realty Associates. Give them a call today at 217-355-0700 or visit them online at taylorboys.com. That's taylorboys.com.
At Pards in Urbana, the boots just keep on coming. They're known for their huge collection of men's cowboy boots, women's cowgirl boots, kids' boots, and even shoes. If you're searching for top footwear brands, look no further than Pards. They carry a wide variety, including Ariat, Dan Post, Smoky Mountain, Roper, Double H, and more. And if socks or accessories are what you need, they've got all your high-quality essentials. Since 1968, Pards has been serving their customers with high-quality merchandise. And if you haven't been to Pards in a while, a lot has changed. Go check them out just off University Avenue in Urbana.
Get the roof your home deserves by Roof Doctors, your residential roofing specialist that has always offered the best warranties in the industry, like our non-prorated 50-year warranty. Our customers love that we are family-owned and locally operated. We make our customer needs our top priority. With over 30 years experience and the best customer service, give Roof Doctors a call today for your free estimate at 328-7529. In your community and for your community, Roof Doctors.
BMW, Buick, GMC, Honda, and Subaru. Welcome to Sarah Champagne. We can handle all your car repairs on site, including paintless dent repair, bumpers, windshields, everything in between. We have an amazing selection of new or pre-owned vehicles to choose from. Shop from home and buy online or reserve your vehicle before it hits our website or dealership. Sarah Champagne is home of the Sarah One Price Promise, delivering an honest and transparent buying experience. Hurry in or shop online at sarahchampagne.com.
I'm Lily Ott. I'm a certified nurse midwife at OSF Healthcare. I see patients in some of the clinics that we are now opening, including in Urbana, Forsyth, Pontiac, Bloomington, and eventually Lincoln, and doing deliveries for women in Bloomington at OSF Healthcare there. Being a nurse midwife today is seeing women through all of their life. So seeing women, pre-puberty through menopause, specializing in pregnant women and providing prenatal care, and then getting to deliver babies at the hospital setting with our patients that we've, established the relationship with throughout their pregnancy. Yeah, I feel like one of the big misconceptions with midwives is that we don't deliver in a hospital setting and that we don't support pain management, which is not true. We deliver babies at the hospital setting, and we support women in any way that they choose to have their babies. So whether that be with an epidural, without an epidural, we're there to support no matter what they decide and kind of just help their labor be what they want it to look like.
It is The Drive, ESPN 93.5. Kyle Tosk here with you, holding down the fort as Lante steps out to catch some high school baseball. We got a couple games at halftime right now. Auburn 7-point lead over Yale, and Florida and Colorado tied at 45. That was an entertaining half. I had an eye on it here in studio, so that should be a fun finish there. But let me turn to Omaha, Nebraska, and the Illini with Derek Piper, who joins the show now. Pipes, how you doing? How's Omaha treating you, sir?
Omaha's been good, man. It's a little bit more chilly today, cloudy, below 40 degrees, but, they play basketball inside for a reason. So hanging around the arena, as we've done each and every day. Had press here a few hours ago, getting some of the riding done, and gearing up to go out and have a steak and enjoy some of the eateries and some of the things that this city has to offer. So it's been a good host site. I think that it's been fun for the fans, seeing a nice, decent contingent for Illinois. Of course, you got a lot of Iowa State fans in the area as well, and it's been a good time so far. Can't complain about covering the tournament, and we'll get into it. But man, Illinois needs to be going to Boston. It's time to get that Sweet 16 as we continue to reemphasize, and catching that break with BYU going down. Not saying Duquesne's going to be easy, but to play a 14, then to play an 11, and the way that Illinois continues to show, like, this should be the time.
Yeah, me and Lon were talking about it in the first hour, just about how much – obviously you beat Morehead State, you beat Duquesne, and go to the Sweet 16, assuming that would happen on Saturday. And you're expected to do that. This team should do that, and this team has a higher ceiling than that too. I think we both agreed that Sweet 16 is far from the ceiling from this roster, and I think we've talked about that plenty this year. But won't it just feel a little bit bigger for this program if Illinois is able to beat Duquesne on Saturday and you got another week of basketball to preview and you're in that second weekend for the first time in 19 years? Isn't it just going to feel a little bit different for Illinois and the fan base and just kind of be a huge weight lifted off everybody's shoulders?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I definitely think that that's the case, and it will feel like maybe a little bit of a karmic, just kind of a give and take, so to speak, where you had some tough draws with Loyola and then Houston, which, again, that's not to excuse the performance, especially against Loyola as a 1 seed, and then now maybe things break your way where you get that favorable draw as a 3, and that really also goes back to the positioning that Illinois put themselves in with being the second best team in the Big Ten and going on that run in March, leading up to Selection Sunday to get 5 Quad 1 wins just in that month alone, about a 2.5-week span. So they allowed themselves to be on that 3 line, and I know we talked about BYU potentially being a tough draw as a 6, but regardless of who you played, to finally get back to a spot in the second weekend where you haven't been in almost 20 years, which is just, it's crazy to think about. And through Brad's tenure, he's checked off a lot of the since 2005 boxes. And that was as far as winning a Big Ten regular season title, winning a Big Ten tournament title, getting 1 seed, and all that they've done in terms of milestones during Brad's tenure, especially here in the last 4 to 5 years, has usually hit the marks of best since that D. Brown, Darren Williams, Luther Head, and so on and so forth. So this is that next big box, and it's a huge one to check. And I agree with you. I think that we can have the conversation of how satisfied would fans be if that's where it ends. I think that people would still feel like that there was more meat on the bone, more potential in this team. You know, I fully agree with you guys that this team at their best is better than a Sweet 16. But for Brad, who hasn't gotten there, he's had some good teams even prior to Illinois, to be at SFA, and then to make the second round a couple of times, and a coach that's won a lot of games but hasn't been to that second weekend, and for the spotlight that gets put on you when you make it there, for the extra days that your fan base can enjoy it, for just to know that you're at that destination that's really at the doorstep of the Final Four. You go to another site, you win 2 games, you come out of that, then you're on your way to that next echelon of the Final Four. So I think that's really, really important. And on that note, kind of as a final thought to that, I will say that the players really made sure to let it be known today that, you know, they're not thinking about the history part of it. I'm glad that they aren't. I think they should be focused on themselves, and you know they want this for this team, not to try to right the wrongs of 19 years in the past, or even back to 21. This is about this year and making sure that they play up to their standards and get as far as they think they can go. But there's no doubt the fan base, and also I think that for Brad in particular, for his own coaching story, this would be massive for both of those angles to get to a Sweet 16.
Let's talk about yesterday. Illinois obviously takes down Morehead State behind a big second half. It was a little nerve-wracking there for about 25 minutes. Morehead State hung around, got off to such a hot start to the game, and Illinois kind of just clawed their way back, and then a huge surge in the second half to where Illinois was able to really pull away. What do you think, from your eyes, kind of flipped there at the midway portion of the second half that allowed Illinois to really take full control of yesterday's game?
I think it was Brad recognizing what lineups are working the most, understanding that you weren't getting a lot out of Quincy Guerrier, that Ty Rodgers, for whatever reason, just seemed a little jittery. I mean, he had some just fumbles of the ball and wasn't a guy that was giving you a whole lot yesterday. That Justin Harmon continues to be someone that has not provided a whole lot. So I do give Brad credit late in the first half of throwing Degage Lawhorn out there. I thought he gave a nice spark in terms of making some corner threes, and then rationing up some of the defensive intensity that he brought. And then, of course, second half, you have Dane Danger just completely go off. I mean, you go on an 18-5 run, and Dane has 15 of those points. And, I mean, he's just continued to come on over the last few weeks and playing with this confidence. And, I mean, some of the moves he's making from around the free throw line, extended and kind of jab stepping and spinning and scoring and running the floor too. I mean, that was a hell of a play where Terrence finds him in transition and he throws it down, and you see the reaction on his face and just the way the team is rallying around him. So I thought Dane changed the game with his ability to score it, with his ability to play defense around the paint. You look at some of the numbers, and Morehead State only made 5 shots at the rim yesterday, but only one of those came when Dane was on the court. So he's plus 27 in the plus-minus for a reason. I thought Luke Goody coming in and making threes, being a guy that there were possessions where he was matched up on Riley Minix, which I thought, number one, that's a darn good player, a guy that comes from NAIA and the OVC Player of the Year, and he was impressive, and he had it going. I mean, he was confident. He was making bank shots like Tim Duncan and being able to step out and hit a 3 or 2, and just seeing the way he was rolling, he's like, oh boy, Illinois could be in for it. But Luke competed defensively. He made those threes, and it allowed Illinois, which it seemed like they were maybe feeling some of the, I don't know if pressure is the right way to say it, but maybe just some of the jitters early and trying to get comfortable in a game like that where heightened stakes, new arena and whatnot. So, but I think that I shared the feelings of a lot of Illini fans of just like, oh man, this is a tight game, early second half, you're down by 2. I feel like you're in a situation where you were hoping Morehead State wouldn't get comfortable, and they looked very comfortable and confident. Their fans were going, and they had some scorers like Lathan and Thelwell and Minix could all make shots and go make plays, but fortunately, their offense kind of dried up, and Illinois really was able to hit the gas pedal. I thought Dane was a huge reason for that. Obviously, Terrence is just pretty much an automatic 25 plus any given game, and I know that Marcus was at the end of the game has a triple double, which is something that is wild, and he really was able to get going offensively in the second half. First, earlier on, I felt like he struggled to finish around the basket. So Illinois has shown that spurt ability in the second half here recently. They once again had one of those big runs that was a game decider. And but yeah, I circle back to Dane as a guy that has become a big X factor for Illinois, and if he continues to play like this, it's going to be hard to keep him off the floor.
Yeah, how about Marcus Domask? I mean, a triple-double. It was one of the quieter triple-doubles you'll find. You kind of looked up after all the chaos and the huge run in the second half, and it's like, oh, Domask has 11 rebounds and 10 assists. He needs a couple more buckets for a triple-double. It does feel like, though, that he's really stepped it up as a passer and as a playmaker here recently, and that's kind of been a product of how teams have tried to guard him and really try to send 2 guys at him like 17, 18 feet from the bucket. What have you kind of seen from him here recently and the increase in assist numbers that we've seen in the postseason from him that have allowed him to put up some of these stat sheet stuffing lines even when maybe his shot isn't falling or he's not getting the same type of looks that he's had at times this year?
Yeah, I think it's the beauty of Illinois' offense. And obviously he's got to be a high IQ player and someone that's skilled to make the right plays with the ball. And that's something that you go back to his time at SIU and put up some pretty good assist numbers, especially considering he was primarily playing the 4 for them. So He's a guy that is able to see the floor well. He's obviously played in a lot of college basketball, so I just feel like the game is never sped up for him, so he's able to make good decisions. And as far as Illinois' offensive scheme, though, usually, a lot of offenses out there, if you take away their fastball or try to take away what their initial action is, you can really bother them. For Illinois, they play out of that. They use that to their advantage. If you want to take Damask in the post and send two guys at him, that leaves somebody open. They play out of that. They have cutting. They have ability to make three-pointers out of that. So I just think that it's a big credit to him, and there's a lot on his plate. There is a lot on his plate to handle some of the ball handling stuff that you wouldn't have anticipated going into the season. I know we all sat there in the summer and wondered, who's going to play point guard? How are they going to make this work? And if you would have told us back then, it was like, Ty Rodgers isn't really playing point guard, then we'd probably all be saying, well, what the heck are they doing? What they're doing is putting the ball in Damask's hands and getting some really good production out of him. So I think that he just knows where the openings are. He knows when doubles are coming and how to operate out of that. And then I think his rebounding, too, has been something really to speak of. I know that Brad challenged him earlier in the season where there'd be games where he only had maybe one or two rebounds, and he's really been somebody that's been such a constant of going to the glass, especially here of late. That's one of those where I'm sitting there courtside with the live stats pulled up, and I'm like, he has how many boards? It's late first half, and he has 5. So he's really been in triple-double territory the last few games and finally got one. And to join just a rare class of player. I mean, I saw the stat, I think only 10 guys. He's the 10th guy to pull off a NCAA tournament triple-double, and the last one was John Morant. I mean, that's crazy for someone who just didn't have a whole lot of notoriety and spotlight coming, in the portal. He wasn't thought to be, this is going to be really one of the needle-moving gets for whoever lands him. It was a little bit more under the radar. But, boy, he's made a very memorable splash for the Illini with what he's done.
All right, the stage is set for tomorrow night, 7:40. We do not have to have the whole, Illinois got screwed. Look at this tough draw, because you actually catch an NCAA tournament break for once in that Duquesne knocks off BYU. So Illinois-Duquesne tomorrow night. Now, this is a Duquesne team that appears to be pretty red hot, having won 9 in a row and obviously running through the A-10 tournament to even get here and then beating a high-powered BYU offense. What can you tell us about this Duquesne team? You were able to catch a little bit of their game against BYU that preceded the Illinois game yesterday, but what are some of the keys to this matchup going to be for Illinois, and how can they break down this Duquesne defense and advance on to Boston?
Yeah, they're tough, and they are playing with a lot of confidence right now, and got some extra motivation knowing that their coach is going to hang them up after this run is done. So they're trying to be one of those Cinderella stories that we always see in the NCAA tournament, and Illinois definitely can't look past them. I think that Brad is obviously emphasizing in particular what they do defensively and how disruptive they can be. They're top 50 in the country in defensive efficiency. They do a good job of turning you over. I think it's really with their ball pressure. They can kind of just take you out of your stuff and make you really extend out as far as what your ball handlers are having to face. And Jimmy Clark, being a point guard for them, is top 10 in the country in steals out there in the NCAA. And they just want to make you grind possession after possession. You look at the tempo they play with. Defensively, their metrics say that they make you play deep into the shot clock. They don't allow a lot of quick hitters as far as offense goes, and Illinois will try to push that tempo up, and maybe that's getting them in transition before their half-court defense can really set. But I think that's something that if you're Illinois, you do wonder about, can you take care of the ball well enough? Can you not get just taken out of your game and out of sorts and not be too sloppy with the ball? Because there have been times where Illinois has been too loose with it and turned it over too much. And Brad and both the players today were referencing Penn State as a team that they kind of reminded them of in terms of what they do defensively. And you go back to that game at State College, Illinois had 18 turnovers. So they have guys that are getting their hands in passing lanes and getting up in you when you have it as the ball handler. So I think that's going to be something to really watch for. And offensively, Duquesne, not a high-powered team by any means. They got some guys that can make threes. I mentioned Jimmy Clark. Day Grant's another guy that has shot over 200 three-point attempts this season, and I think he's made 12 or something like that over the last 3 games. So you got to watch out for that. I think also just they're one of those scrappy teams that I know even their numbers don't say they don't kill people on the offensive glass, but I just, if I'm Illinois, I want to make sure that they're not just trying to, well, Illinois has the clear talent advantage, that you're not getting beat with a team that's just playing with more effort and all out, and more of an all out mentality. So Illinois has to be really engaged, and to Duquesne's credit, they really limited one of the more prolific offenses out there in the country in BYU, and they kind of punked them. They took it to them early. They got on them early and didn't really let up. And their physicality, and they showed some pretty good athleticism. Now I don't think that there's a more athletic team or even the more physical team in this one, but if I'm Illinois, I really think about ball toughness, just overall intensity as far as the loose ball game, and if those things play out well, I think Illinois is making that flight to Boston early next week, because the talent's there, and I think that I'd be surprised if Duquesne can score enough to beat Illinois if Illinois doesn't have kind of a crazy number of turnovers and doesn't just get annihilated in the 50-50 game.
Awesome stuff. Well, I know that you have been busy out there, but did you get a chance to catch some other hoops, especially last night? Did you get a chance to see Oakland knock off Kentucky, that team we saw back in Champaign early in November? Did you get a chance? How about the Samford, Kansas call there with like 20 seconds left? That was brutal. How much hoops were you able to see last night after you were all done with your responsibilities?
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get to see a lot of that Oakland, Kentucky game. We caught probably midway through the second half and on, and so Jack Golke had already made like 7 threes by the time I was already tuned into it. But, man, that's insane. And the guy that Illinois limited to just, I think he was 2 for 6 from the field, and they played in Champaign. We knew that Oakland team was good, that they had a good amount of offensive talent. Trey Towns is a good player as well. Really like Greg Campy as a coach. Have a lot of respect for what he's done with them through the years. So, and let's be honest, I mean, it's entertaining for anybody else out there to see Kentucky go down again. So, although I will say, I had a lot of fun watching Reed Shepherd and Rob Dillingham and that team through the year, just what they can propose offensively. But this is what people want to see this time in the calendar, is those upsets, those crazy results, and breaking brackets and whatnot. I will say that I made the mistake of thinking McNeese and Samford were both going to win, and the Upset City pod didn't play out that way, but maybe it should have, to your point. Like Samford with just a blatantly clear block. I know it's hard in real time if you're a ref, but yeah, nothing but ball on that Nick Timberlake dunk attempt, and Samford should have had the ball back down 1, and that was a hell of a comeback by Samford to even make it a game. So I know Brad even got asked today, and actually there's an AP reporter who's asking, I think, all of the coaches, what do you make of the idea that there needs to be a coach's challenge? I think that's a very fair point. I know there's a lot of stoppages in college basketball.
Do we need more reviews? Like, I get it, but
probably not. But
if you go with that new rule, let's eliminate some of the other reviews that we have to balance it out, because I don't need any more refs looking at a monitor.
Yeah, no, I think that the coach challenge, I could see that being useful. It'd be nice to have that in case there's just some kind of egregious error. But yeah, we don't need to go to the monitor every time to check the clock and whatnot. And am I the only one that's sick of this? I don't even know what it is. The song that they're playing into the commercial about I want to dance with everybody in the room or something. I'm butchering it, but it's already.
I know what you're
ingrained in my
talking
head.
about. Yeah.
It's already getting on my nerves. But anyways, yeah, I watched FAU Northwestern this morning. Was surprised it was that ugly of a game, but credit to Chris Collins. Real quick note, I want to throw this back to you, Kyle, and get your thoughts. I've heard a rumor around here that Collins might be, if not the top choice, one of the top choices for Michigan. What do you think about that?
Ooh. I mean, I think he deserves it. Now, he deserves a bigger job. Especially when you think about it, Northwestern, how you're going to lose so many guys, and it's already been so hard for him to recruit there, and it's always going to be hard. And he's done such an